Welcome live from the Brew Hall inside loanDepot Park here. FanFest 2025 presented by ADT. 2 weeks away from spring training. Baseball is right around the corner. Steve Strom alongside Kyle Sielaff. And you kick off festivities here this afternoon. Your manager, Marlins Hot Stove, just now. Initial thoughts of FanFest are really also been
of course, great. Love like the vibes, the energy. People are excited about what the season of all baseball. It wasn't already over the top excited about the Marlins.
You're the nicest guy. We could probably. You're in my top 5 nicest. Is there anything after the mountain that could kick you out of the game? Is there anything capable of actually having a quick other than that?
I would say, yeah, there's really something that comes up. It's a really frustrating thing that I think. So the answer is the lines.
Give me the second opening game.
Right. We'll get the first pitch score line. We lose it then, but I'm sure it's something we go.
That's in this first fastball. It's the outside corner. It's one thing you see the hard give you one of these. It's generally going to be
I will say this first.
Unbelievable staff with some incredible human beings. They have been an absolute joy to talk to. The process, how difficult it was for this to make decisions, and backs out that notes to the order for these guys.
First, extremely excited. Process of there's a lot of people trying to be the same as we do the quality of the local person, the great team, quality of the person that would be in line with the way the direction of the organization. I would also think they come in and provide some different perspectives and really push back, question these. That's the other thing that you're having dialogue from lots of your things on different sides. So he was trying to reach out to the organization to that you go through the game, others know on the list. And some initial phone conversations, they work together to have a conversation with many of them walked up and get that in person. And you get it right. It's such a, timing of things is difficult. But we got through it. It was all said and done. Good people staff, each of the person involved. But then it's also telling you there's diversity. You want to show you a compliment, showing you their strengths and skills that someone else has. Very high based on the other person is how you're all right with that person. If you go to my lines, Aaron Leonard, Major Filter, and his guys
we spoke with all these guys, and it's just been so amazing to get to know everyone. They all have similar qualities to them, and great people. Just unique backgrounds.
They care about players. That was fun. What's important to you is helping players be there. That's what we do. That's what we do. And we do it. Helping as much as we can and static up to be how it works.
There's been multiple players up in Jupiter. And up in Jupiter, what does it mean for a first year manager? Up there working and working.
So they're going to be commitments. Selfish side is great to be able to have some time in person to get to this. Well, just like I said in my shot after the off season, relationship building servicing that in the off season.
This is probably a unfair question, but it's one that managers would have. What does it mean for training?
Great question. They love we come out of that. It's most that can happen in certain folks when you go in there, at least some of an idea of what the 30, 35, 36 kind of makes it not we can't deliver counter show competition. The best thing would be if you have a lot of players in the front of everybody. Not this country with this is kind of look like this is how we pitched last year in the offseason physically. How they developed pitchers. There's a process that they can add some pitches. So that would be an exciting part to see what guys have. One how they things that again. We want to be crisp. Yes, but not a big spins. Great schedule. Always. Check lots.
Can you name drop for me? Is that okay for you? Can you go over the name drops? Give me some young guns on this roster that you're excited to watch here in 2025, and even just spring training in general.
That's my patience is very exciting. With them, what he's done this whole season. All these persons go out and run this year. His last year, you could see a different version. The big person of everything very excited about is seeing the other side. The ability that he has. Go consistent stretches. In which you find weapons and that's
Thank you.
a great all season and national about his program. It looks amazing. It's like you see there's definitely a support for the team. It's actually going now. We get to play one.
Yes.
Having that healthy communication, we're all excited. I know you guys go to
We do it tonight, so I want to ask one quick question because everyone wants to know about big incentives. If there's big sales, when he hits the ball, what can you tell us anything that you've seen for the biggest incentives?
Yep. He's got a great smile and he's good. So it's areas that he's looking at his offensive game, something he thinks that tremendous part of the back on consistent basis. Sure. They look at their showing being he's winning. They go around and so I just got to press it. His personality. He's going to and set all the records and realize there's a lot of work on both sides of the ball. It's a contributing.
We're so excited to see it. Thank you so much for coming around some time for us today. We're so excited for this year. Let's break here. We got a ton more left here on Marlins FanFest in Cortez, Dax Colton. A ton more on News Radio 610 WIOD.
Local Miami Marlins coverage is underway. Baseball is back. Steven Strom is live on News Radio 610 WIOD.
All right, back here at FanFest 2025, live from the Brew Hall on News Radio 610 WIOD. Steven Strom, Kyle Sielaff. Good conversation with Marlins manager Clayton McCullough. And Kyle, I know we've had a chance to chat with him a couple of times and the entire staff, but we'll start here with Clayton. When you talk about a first-year manager, you're going to go through some growing pains and you're going to go through some, learning curves. What is sort of the expectation from a Clayton McCullough ran group?
Well, I think it's something that we've discussed with his staff too, and it's something that Clayton has talked about. They really are looking to get 1% better every day. Dude, and look, when we've been doing the Hot Stove show throughout the course of the offseason, it was very apparent how young this team was going to be. How many of these guys have never gone through a full major league season?
Yep.
And again, we joke about it, but if you take a look at the projected FanGraphs 26-man roster, Anthony Bender is the oldest player at 30 years old. A lot of this is going to be growth in development. And the team that you see on opening day on March 27th is going to look much different than the one that you see on April 27th. And so on and so forth and down the line. And it's going to look a lot different on July 27th coming out of the All-Star break. So it really is. It's going to be about growth in development. And there's going to be some struggles. We talked about this too. The best teams in baseball, they do this,
sure,
right?
Sure.
And the ones in the really young teams, it's a big roller coaster. And there's going to be those lumps. There will be those bruises. And I've told you this as well. When I look at this team, I might be dead wrong, but I think they're going to be really fun to watch. There's a lot of people. They're not household names, but they're going to be fun to watch. I really do think so.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think one of the interesting things I thought Clayton McCullough said when we asked him about the young guns and we talked about guys, and sometimes managers don't even say a name, and he said 3 names. And what was the common trait? They were all pitchers. And I think when you look at this group, the first thing that you have to and you cannot ignore are the arms on this team.
Yeah.
We're going to see Sandy. I know I guess there was no confirmation, but Skeen Sandy is pretty much locked in for March 27th. Yep. Can't wait to see that. Ryan Weathers was an all-star arguably until he got hurt. You have different guys in the rotation like Max Meyer,
Yep.
Edward Cabrera, wild cards,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And then a back end. And we talked about also if the Marlins plan on adding a veteran arm or if they feel they've got enough maybe in the system. But I think pitching, and that's what we saw 2 years ago, Kyle, with the playoff run. Am I saying playoffs this year? No, but I think one of the things that is essential to some sort of a playoff run or a successful season are the arms. And the Marlins have the talent to do that.
They do. Now, I do go back to something that you and I have talked about in recent weeks. Obviously, there's no Braxton Garrett, and Yuri's not coming back. He hopes right around July,
sure,
the All-Star break.
Sure.
They have really talented pitching. I don't think they have enough of it right now. I think Peter's probably out there on the free agent market looking for veteran starting pitchers who, number one, can eat innings. Because coming into this season, Sandy Alcantara, a year removed from Tommy John surgery, is the only starting pitcher in this rotation who's ever gone through the grind of a full major league season. Yep. Ryan Weathers has not. Edward Cabrera has not. Obviously, Yuri has not. Max Meyer obviously has not. The pitching is extremely talented. I do think they're out there looking for some, though, because you're going to need a veteran or two to be able to take the ball for you, number one, every 5th day to eat some innings. It is very, very important with young teams because you do monitor them. You do monitor their health. They are your future, so you're not going to run them into the ground 2 months into the season. But, yeah, I mean, it's exciting to think about because there are so many young, talented players. And, look, dude, I know we talked about that a lot over the offseason, but I'm really excited to watch Clayton, his staff, and everybody go to work here.
I think exciting is a fair word, and it's not misconstrued with like this team is going to win 90 games, whatever it may be. We're just excited to watch Connor Norby's, the Xavier Edwards, the Yuri Perez when he comes back in the middle of the season. I think it's a good segue into the next conversation I want to have because
we're glowing, by the way.
I know we really are. I'm going to get a sunburn through this, but positional players. I think you're confident in a couple. Otto Lopez at second. Xavier Edwards at shortstop, Connor Norby at third base. What are some of the positional battles to be had this spring?
Yeah,
if anything, in the outfield.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think right now, first base is probably more of a platoon situation with Jonah Bride and Matt Mervis. Mervis, a total wild card, was a very highly sought-after prospect in Chicago, had a hard time finding his footing there. Actually got his first big league hit a couple of years ago against the Marlins when we were at Wrigley.
Yep.
Jonah Bride was a total wild card coming into last year. He got a lot of run down the stretch. He really proved that he's a big league ball player. And the same thing can be said for Otto Lopez. Otto Lopez was a forgotten commodity in San Francisco. Multiple organizations said, you know what? You just don't have a place here. And he came here and he proved to be one of the best,
most steady players last year.
And he proved to be one of the best defensive second basemen in baseball. I thought when he was going through funks offensively, he was able to snap out of them quicker than maybe some younger guys. But back to your original question, I don't even know if it's a competition, but first base to me is more of a platoon situation. And if you do think about competition position player-wise, I think you've got to go to the outfield. You know, Dane Myers and Derek Hill, who's going to get the nod in center field, both obviously young players. Jesus Sanchez, can he prove to be an everyday player?
Sure.
Or is he ultimately more of a platoon guy if he can't figure things out facing lefties?
Very similar situations in center and right fielder, or even the corner outfielders, in the sense that whoever hits more at that center field position between Derek Hill and Dane Myers is most likely going to play. Whoever can hit lefties better between Jesus Sanchez and Griffin Conine is going to win that battle. So it's really going to be a separator between those issues that these players have faced pretty much their entire career.
Yes, and here's the one thing that's very interesting about all that. And obviously as fans, you want every opportunity every single night to win. But what you have to be cautious of is exactly what you're saying. If Derek Hill is going really, really well, do you continue to let him play?
Sure.
But what you tussle with in the front office is who's the future? Who's going to be here when you're ready to win? If they believe it's Dane Myers and not Derek Hill, I'm just throwing that out there as an example. You have to make tough decisions that, you know what, we think X player is our future. Even though he's going through a tough time right now, it's not that you're sacrificing wins, but you're trying to really see if that player can get it figured out because you view him more as the future. So those are very, very tough things that I think the front office is going to have to tussle with throughout the course of the season. I think the cool thing, though, is that all of those players have that opportunity. Derek Hill's going to have an opportunity to prove that, you know what, I'm a part of this thing moving forward.
The man of the hour.
Oh,
actually.
there he is. There he is.
He's coming
Hello,
on in just
Derek.
a few
How
minutes.
you doing?
Derek Hill will join the program in just a few minutes. But yeah,
that's
point.
the amazing thing to me. So many of these guys are so young. There is so much opportunity, and I think I think the 26-man roster personally will sort itself out fairly quickly with a lot of these guys.
Yep.
But I think there's going to be some really healthy competition as to who becomes that everyday player. And I think there's a lot of guys capable of doing that.
And I brought this up to you a couple of weeks ago about spring training, and we saw last year a guy like Dane Myers. He went off.
Yeah.
He bat 350, had a couple of home runs, and he came back physically different. The Marlins ended up going with Avi Garcia in that situation.
Right,
and,
exactly.
And you understand from a financial standpoint why they did so. What is it going to look like under Peter's principles? Is he going to reward guys, younger guys, that hit 350 and have a couple of home runs and clearly are, not clearly, but maybe have a big-time spring and have an opportunity to make this team? Do you go with spring training? I know it's spring training. I know it's only 27, 28 games, but do you reward that type of play early on into a season? That's what I'm curious about going into the regular season.
We have a couple of minutes. Can I comment on that?
Absolutely.
Right?
You got 2 minutes, and then I have to break. It is a must.
We will make sure we do that. Sorry if there was any interruption there in the first segment. Clayton was great. We'll get that posted. I think everybody can hear us clearly now. I think the one thing that you hear a lot is competition really kind of breeds competitiveness.
Yep.
And
or eliminates complacency.
100%, whatever you'd prefer. But I really do think that the Marlins are in a situation where there is so much young talent nipping on these guys' heels in the big leagues in AAA. There's a lot of guys that are really, really close.
Sure.
That's how you get really good. And if you do reward good, right? If you do reward somebody hitting 340 and being productive, that's how you really breed that competition at the major league level. So I do think that Peter, Gabe, and all of his assistant GMs, I don't think they'll be reckless. I do think they're going to be very aggressive, and I think there's going to be a lot of guys that get an opportunity in the big leagues this season.
Marlins Radio live from the Brew Hall here at loanDepot Park. Marlins FanFest 2025. Big thanks to Clayton McCullough for stopping by. We're just getting started here. We have Derek Hill, who is waiting on deck right now.
I do have
He'll
to
be
leave
on
you in a
couple of
moment. I
minutes,
am sorry about that.
and you do have to leave me. I do appreciate. You'll be back. Will you come back? Or are you done?
6 to 6:30.
All right.
I
Kyle
wouldn't miss
Sielaff
this
will
for
be
the
back.
world.
This is your last year. This is officially your last hurrah on this side of things until you go shine on TV.
Yeah, well, I do have a very oily forehead, so I will be shining. I don't know if it will. Looking at my schedule, yeah, I'll be back with you from 6 to 6:30.
All right, great.
They're counting you down, brother. 30 seconds.
All
If
right.
you miss it, they're going to kick you off the air.
More to come. News Radio 610 WIOD.
From the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys Traffic Center. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
going slower. Izervay or Avastin-capted Pagal is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today. Izervay gets GA going slower. Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Baseball is back. Live from the Brew Hall inside loanDepot Park. Marlins FanFest 2025. Marlins FanFest 2025.
Well, we are moving and shaking here at Marlins FanFest. Steven Strom on News Radio 610 WIOD, 2 weeks away from spring training against the St. Louis Cardinals. I cannot believe it, as Derek Hill is kind enough to join us here on the program. D. Hill, thank you very much for carving out some time for us today. Can you believe, dude, we're 2 weeks away, man.
It's wild. I feel like I didn't even have an off season.
It's
this was
crazy.
The fastest off season I've had. Obviously, I had a baby girl and whatnot, but it definitely rolled right through from last year to this year.
Forget the baseball for a second. Congratulations, man. You're a dad, man. What? Give me some takeaways. Give me your thoughts.
There truly is nothing like it in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, people say that all the time, but until you experience it and you get to see her every single morning smiling and whatnot, there's no better feeling.
Is she sleeping?
Oh, yeah, like a baby.
Oh, yeah? You're getting some sleep, getting decent
Last
sleep?
night, she went to bed at, I think it was like 10 and slept till 8:30 this morning. So she's 2 months old already sleeping like that. So we're rocking and rolling.
We got a lot of guys with young ones on this team. Otto Lopez, Dane Myers. You guys do any dad bonding?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Of course. Yeah, we rode over here together. Sat all next to each other. It's really cool. It's actually pretty funny over at the Players Hotel. I'm right next to Lopez.
Yeah.
So every time my girl will stop crying, his girl will start crying, and vice versa the whole night. So it's pretty funny.
All right, let's get into you on the diamond, because you came out of nowhere. The Marlins claimed you off waivers on August 3rd from San Francisco. You have the Grand Slam against Cincinnati on August 7th, just a couple of days later. I mean, there's a lot of moments I do want to touch on, but I guess when the season did end, and it probably felt like a whirlwind for you, just nonstop.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what did you kind of think back on the season? Did you like? What'd you like? What'd you not like?
No, honestly, I loved every bit about it. Every single season, you got to take the good and the bad and just kind of put it all in the same category, because everything's a learning lesson. Whether it's hitting a grand slam or making an error, it doesn't really matter. You got to take it in stride and just keep pushing forward. I mean, I was on 3 different teams last year and loved every single bit about it. Loved meeting all the new guys throughout the season, and was happy that I landed here and around an amazing group of guys now.
I have a bunch of your top moments of last year. I mentioned the Grand Slam. You had a catch in Minnesota that saved the game on September 26th. I think you had a couple of unbelievable catches, a 2-home run game in Colorado. Do you have a favorite moment from last year in particular?
That's a tough one. I'm not going to lie. Maybe the little double play that me and Sanchi turned in, where's that, New York.
Yep.
That one was pretty cool. Just because, throw a little team orientation in there. It was pretty awesome.
Just your initial couple of interactions with Clayton McCullough. We had a chance to catch up with them. All the guys on the coaching staff just feel like genuine dudes that really care for you.
Yep.
But with Clayton specifically, what have your conversations been like in some of your takeaways?
Honestly, majority of it hasn't really even been about baseball yet. It's a lot of family. He's just really trying to get to know every single person that's on his staff, that he's going to be coaching, vice versa. I mean, he's just an incredible guy, very level-headed. And like we were just saying earlier, he's got some really, really good players.
Some good pedigree.
That say he's the best coach they've ever had. So I'm excited to be able to play under him, be able to learn under him, and to see where the season takes us.
I told him, I'm like, you're like a top 5 nicest guy I've ever met. Is there anything capable of getting you kicked out of a game? Is there anything you think maybe first couple pitches into Sandy's opening day, missed call on the black? I don't know. I mean, is there anything that can get this guy out of a game?
I don't think so. I mean, he is a true gamer. I love it. So it's gonna be awesome to see where this season takes the whole team. We got a young, exciting team. Gonna be playing very fundamental baseball and just putting a lot of pressure on other teams.
So you mentioned going into 2025. You know what everyone's saying. You know all the media, what they plan on saying, what they think of this team. How do you take that and turn it. Are you guys into that kind of stuff? Are you not? Is it impossible not to? Do you stay within the confines of this clubhouse and say, we're going to do our thing every single day and not worry about the outside noise?
I mean, at the end of the day, you got to go out there and play baseball. I mean, it doesn't matter what Joe Smith or whatever, blah, 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 their names are, what they're talking about. At the end of the day, you got to get in the box, compete. You got to get on the rubber and compete, and you got to play fundamental baseball. If we do that, we're going to be in every single game. Last year, we were in every single game, it felt like, and we just couldn't quite squeak out the final last couple innings. But, I mean, we were that close to really putting something special together. And, I mean, we added great coaching staff, great mentality and whatnot. So I think that's going to push us over the hump.
What's been the primary focus for you in the offseason?
Just kind of building up, just being able to go out there every single day and get 500-600 plate appearances.
Sure.
Hopefully, God willingly. And just being out there, because if I'm out there on the field able to help my team win a couple ball games, that's all that I want to do.
Derek Hill with us here on the Marlins Hot Stove Show. Last one before spring training, 2 weeks away here on News Radio 610 WIOD. When you look at this lineup, what sort of do you want this identity to look like when fans are talking to other fans and say, oh, you're a Marlins fan? Okay, what kind of team are the Marlins? What do you want them to say?
I kind of like I was talking to a couple people the other day about it. It feels like we're like the Royals a couple of years ago when I think it was like 2012, 13 around there, where they just played the game the right way. Whereas like you don't have the crazy boppers in the lineup. You don't have the crazy top tier guys, but that doesn't take away the fact that everybody on this team knows how to play the game the right way. And if we go out there and play the game the right way, it doesn't matter what the other teams do because we're going out there putting pressure on them and everybody folds just like everybody else if you put pressure on them.
Curious, I've always wondered, like, just as an outfield unit, are you guys like close? Do you guys like? Is there a certain is it kind of like special teams in football? Like, what is that camaraderie like from an outfield standpoint?
No, it's really cool. I mean, you're with each other every second of the day because I mean, you go out there for BP, you're with each other. You're going for defense, you're with each other. Base running, you're in the same groups. So you get really close, really fast with all the guys, and every single one of them is a top tier guy on and off the field. So yeah, they're unbelievable teammates.
Did you change your number or no?
I did. I changed it to 3.
You changed it to 3.
Yeah.
I like 3.
Yeah.
Okay, give us why.
My daughter was born on the 3rd. Yeah.
Come on.
Oh yeah.
We need awes from the crowd. Come on.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Oh yeah.
And there's some good threes out there. I mean, I'm just saying,
threes.
Who's the first 3 you think of? For me, I'm not even thinking baseball. I'm thinking like Allen Iverson.
3, Allen Iverson.
There's a lot
Harper.
of good threes. Yeah.
Who else we got out there? Who is 3 in football? Is there any good 3s in football?
Now they started to switch the football numbers.
Yeah, they got the freaking DNs wearing single digits.
Yeah.
Now,
How you feel
crazy.
about that?
You know, I like it.
Each their own.
Yeah, the game's moving in a different way. It's not stale anymore. I mean, I think that's just cross sports. As long as things are moving and changing, I think that's good for the game.
You guys are entering this year against a division that is pretty scary with Atlanta, New York, Washington. What's your favorite place to play at within the division?
Ooh, New York was pretty cool last year. They get it bumping in there. The crowd's always into it. They got great stadium atmosphere, whether it be the music, the lights. I mean, it's New York, and they got a great team up there. So going up there and competing and beating them just feels that much better.
I know I asked you what you focused on in the offseason. You said health. If we fast forward a year from now and I ask you what is a 162 game, hopefully maybe more, successful Derek Hill season look like? Are you a numbers guy? Do you go, I want to bat 280 or 300? What quantifies or qualifies as a successful year in your eyes?
That's a tough question. I'm not a numbers guy by any means whatsoever. So I think just going out there, number one, just being a great teammate. Because at the end of the day, when you get done with this game, nobody's going to remember what you did in 2025 season-wise. They're going to remember who you are, character on and off the field. So I'd say that number one. And just kind of shocking the world. I mean, everybody thinks that we're going to be the last place team, blah, blah, blah. It is what it is. But I guarantee you when that September comes and we're raising some eyebrows, just like take Detroit, for example. Nobody thought they would be doing anything.
Yep.
And they almost shook the world.
They sold at the trade deadline.
Exactly.
They sold at the trade deadline.
So it's just exciting. That's why baseball is the best sport. It doesn't matter what type of talent you have. It's more about character and just the camaraderie between the team, because you can have a bunch of incredible guys on a baseball team that don't mesh well together and get bounced in the first round.
Yep.
Or you have a bunch of just grinders that can take it all the way to the World Series and shock the world. So I'm excited to see what we can do.
Derek Hill with us now. We got about a minute left with him. Really appreciate you joining me again. Love chatting with you. We had some fun yesterday with the media liners. We won't discuss everything that you said, but we had some good, clean ones, Derek, that you did a really nice job with. Curious, just in center field, who was your guy growing up, or who did you emulate or look at?
Torrey Hunter.
Oh, my goodness.
The Spider-Man. By far my favorite player. To this day, my favorite player. I was lucky enough to be able to go train with him a couple times.
Really?
Got drafted to the team that he was on, so I was able to watch him play early in my career. And he's just a true professional. He goes out there and plays the game with intensity, and that's just kind of what I want to be remembered for, is just going out there and playing with intensity and the love of the game.
That's a great way to end it. I love Torrey Hunter. I was a big Twins fan growing up. Don't tell anyone, but Torrey Hunter was one of the best center fielders in all of baseball. Derek, thank you so much for joining me. Have a healthy and safe season. I'll see you in about a week and a half. Let's break here. When we get back, we got a lot more bases to cover. Nick Fortes, Dax Fulton, they will join us in just a little bit right here on News Radio 610 WIOD.
The team at Valenzuela Financial invites you to their next complimentary educational workshop covering taxes and Social Security and retirement. Save the date, February the 25th or March the 4th in Pompano Beach. This is a complimentary workshop, but seating is limited, so save your spot today. 954-280-8771.
on News Radio 610 WIOD.
Alrighty, FanFest 2025 presented by ADT, live from the Brew Hall inside loanDepot Park. Steven Strom, great to have you aboard. We are 2 weeks away from spring training, the opener against St. Louis Cardinals, and then fast forward just a couple of days after spring training, we will begin this bad boy. Chapter 33 for the Miami Marlins, and it'll be the Pittsburgh Pirates and Miami facing off. Skeens versus Sandy, potentially. Buckle up. That would be quite an opening day appetite for all of baseball's nation. All right, so we got a chance to chat with Marlins manager Clayton McCullough. He was fabulous per usual. Really looking forward to working with him and covering him this season. He comes from the Los Angeles Dodgers. If you didn't know, of course, you probably did. Worked with Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman. They ended up winning the World Series against the New York Yankees, and a big part in Shohei Ohtani achieving that 50-50 goal was in part thanks to Clayton McCullough. So a couple of things with Clayton I think you should anticipate this Marlins team having is really good base running. And you talk about doing the little things right, winning within the margins. Clayton McCullough has echoed that sentiment multiple times here in our conversations. They want to be a lot better defensively in the field. They want to be able to steal bases. They want to be able to play the right way, take first to third, do all those little things that really, and we look at the Dodgers and we think, oh my goodness, they've got this, they've got that, they've got Ohtani, they've got Freeman, they've got Betts. But you know what they also did? They ran the bases incredibly well. They played really clean baseball defensively. They did all the little things that complete a championship team. Yes, they had the talent, but they did all the things that really lead up to a World Series, and they deserved it. And you saw it on full display in New York. I know Aaron Judge's drop in center field might not be what caused it, but multiple other things, just the base running. So Clayton McCullough was fantastic in our spot, and we'll post it on our podcast page. He was great, though, this afternoon. Got a chance to chat with Derek Hill, another guy that's going to play a big role in this season. He's going to compete in that outfield, and there are a lot of guys and a plethora of opportunities for guys like Derek Hill, Dane Myers, Griffin Conine, Jesus Sanchez. There's a ton of outfield talent there, and we'll see how Peter Bendix and company and Clayton McCullough, of course, try to handle and facilitate who's the right man out in the outfield. I think you're going to anticipate, like Kyle had mentioned, and Kyle was with me for the first two segments, a lot of platoon situations. And the separator from an outfield perspective, when you look at a guy like Derek Hill and Dane Myers, is going to be who's going to be able to hit. And when you look at a guy in Jesus Sanchez and Griffin Conine, who's going to be able to hit lefties. They're both, I had mentioned this to Kyle earlier, that they're both sort of in similar situations and similar problems. How are they going to stick and stand out in spring training? We shall see. Again, Nick Fortes will join me in just a few minutes here. Dax Fulton as well. Looking forward to those conversations. But I think it's a good time to at least introduce the next radio voice of the Miami Marlins, and that's going to be Jack McMullen, who I cannot wait to have him on with me. If it was up to me, he would be right next to me doing this show. You guys are going to absolutely love hearing Jack McMullen, not only on the play-by-play, because he's got the voice, he's got all the intangibles you look for in a great play-by-play man, but he also has done it from a content perspective, podcast, growing a social media, everything that we're really trying to do for you guys. We want to be bigger than just baseball on the radio. We want to do the StreamYard stuff. We want to do the YouTube. We want to do the GoPro. All this stuff is really, honestly, what we're trying to do is give you guys access and more access to this than any other team across Major League Baseball. And Jack is going to be phenomenal. He's going to be creative. He's going to be energetic. And yes, we are going to miss Kyle Sielaff a lot, but we are also so pumped for him, and I'll tell him this, and if you have listened to the Hot Stove show this entire offseason, I have congratulated him multiple times, but, Kyle's irreplaceable, but what we tried to do was get someone in here that really shared the same goals that we're trying to do here at Marlins Radio. So make sure to give Jack a follow. You're going to hear him all season long. He is going to be calling all the games 162, and really excited about our analyst rotation, Of course, we're bringing back Rod Allen. We're bringing back Jeff Nelson. We're bringing back Gabby Sanchez. But we're also adding some people into the fold. And I hadn't mentioned Kelly Sacco as well. But A.J. Ramos, a former Marlins All-Star, he actually came on the Hot Stove Show a couple of weeks ago, and we had a fantastic interview with him. He is knowledgeable. He is young. He is energetic. He's going to get his first shot here at doing analyst work, and I cannot be more excited to be able to bring him on the Marlins Radio Network and have him be on with us this season. Another addition, Craig Minervini. You've heard him, and you've seen him on TV. He's going to call a select amount of games as well. So all in all, the Marlins Radio Network, losing Kyle Sielaff, a big loss, but gaining a ton in guys like Jack McMullen, A.J. Ramos, Craig Minervini. So it should be a really exciting 2025. Okay, back to the baseball, because there's a lot of change. There's a lot of change with the coaching staff. Obviously, Skip Schumacher, now to Clayton McCullough. We've got a ton of new coaches. Tyler Smallslock, Pedro Guerrero, Daniel Moskows, who is the pitching coach, Brandon Mann, who actually was the pitch shaping coach last season. He's been elevated to the bullpen coach. And then you look at the players, and only 2 players in the lineup from last year are still here. And that is Jesus Sanchez and Nick Fortes, who, again, will join me in just a few minutes here. That is a ton of things to replace there. You have to assume Xavier Edwards will be the table setter for this particular team. He will lead off for the Marlins. You have to assume Connor Norby will be in that 2 or 3 spot. Jesus Sanchez possibly in a cleanup role. Otto Lopez being at the top of the order as well. But everything else, man, it is just so fun this season, I think, going into spring training, to look at the different lineups that the Marlins can go with. Can they go with a guy like Matt Mervis at first base? Can they platoon someone like Griffin Conine? Can they bring Jesus Sanchez off in late game situations? The versatility of the possible roster. That's going to be exciting to see, the positional players and who emerges during spring training this season. Now, the one thing that you know you're going to get with the Marlins this year, if healthy, is a really fun rotation and entertaining rotation in Sandy Alcantara, who you will get back this season after he underwent Tommy John surgery. We haven't seen him pitch since September of 2023 against the Washington Nationals. I actually never forget that start. I think he went still 7 or 8 innings that game, but it was tough not to see Sandy in the playoffs, particularly when they got there against Philadelphia. Can you imagine Zach Wheeler, Sandy Alcantara, Game 1 against the Phillies? That would have been exciting. But here we are. Sandy is going to make his way back here. And you look at the rest of the rotation. Ryan Weathers, no injury. The guy was on probably his way to his first ever All-Star game. And that's an individual, when you look back at that trade, Ryan Weathers was traded from San Diego. He had about a 6.7 ERA. And he came onto the scene late in that 2023 season and really struggled. He made a ton of strides in 24. Can't wait to see him out in 2025. Max Meyer. We had asked Clayton McCullough, hey, what's one of the young guns that you're looking at this season that you're most excited to see watch here in 2025? He mentioned Ryan Weathers. He mentioned Max Meyer. That's 2 arms, and he actually made it a 3rd in Edward Cabrera. The Marlins pitching situation is going to be very fascinating this season. It can look really scary at times with Sandy, with Weathers, and when Yuri comes back in the middle of the year, those 4 in itself makes for an interesting 2025 and a situation where you can really form an identity. And that's usually the biggest, I think, question mark for a first-year manager is how can we form our identity? And if it is pitching, that is a identity that is sustainable and hopefully can lead to a lot of wins here in 2025. Okay, let's break here. When we get back, we'll get Kyle Sielaff back, and we will also hear from your catcher, Nick Fortes, next on News Radio 610 WIOD.
Hi, I'm Jenna Fisher. A little over a year ago, during a routine mammogram and
crime spree in the Florida Panhandle has died after a shootout with SWAT officers. Police began chasing the man after he was suspected of shooting 4 people during a robbery in Gadsden County, killing 2. During the pursuit, police say the suspect shot and wounded a Suwannee County Sheriff's deputy and fired at another. The suspect ended up crashing his vehicle and died in a shootout with the officers. The FDLE is investigating a deadly deputy-involved shooting in Hernando County. It happened Thursday night in Brooksville. Sheriff's office says 62-year-old Michael O'Banner ran off after a traffic stop and was shot during a struggle when he reached for a deputy's gun. His family says O'Banner died in the hospital. A deputy suffered a bite to the neck during the struggle. A 7-year-old who loved drag racing dies in a crash, and we are learning more about the little girl. Ella Anise Zoe Diaz Rodriguez crashed February 2nd at the Orlando Speed World track. Fellow racer Danielle Alafatato tells Fox 35 News he knew her family.
I wanted to make sure that people understood that this girl wasn't just trying this. She lived for this. Her family raised her in this community.
The crash is still under investigation. Speeding may have been a factor in a deadly motorcycle crash in Jacksonville. Sheriff's office says the biker failed to negotiate a curve on Kings Avenue and his motorcycle struck a concrete pole. With Florida's News, I'm Wayne Rooston.
I'm just saying, if you're a squatter, you have more rights than homeowners. I'm just saying, the criminals are running the asylum.
Sean Hannity. News Radio 610. WIOD.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Marlins FanFest 2025. Live from loanDepot Park at the Brew Hall. The Hot Stove Show with Stephen Strom is on News Radio 610 WIOD.
An hour left of the program here this afternoon. Marlins FanFest 2025 presented by ADT. We're live from the Brew Hall. Stephen Strom, Kyle Sielaff joins us. Big thanks to Clayton McCullough, who joined us earlier in the hour. And folks, yes, we had some audio issues on X, and I've got accountability tattooed on my forehead. On me. It was on me. So we will make sure that that is up tomorrow on our YouTube page. You can check it out again. Thank you, Clayton McCullough. Bad job by me on the audio. Derek Hill joined me as well. Really nice spot with him.
Good interview.
He's excited. New girl dad. He's getting some good sleep.
Him and Otto are like apartment neighbors, right?
Yes, they are. So excited for Derek Hill. It was funny. We were talking about positional battles, and one of them is Dane Myers and Derek Hill. He walked in. Good thing you didn't say anything out of pocket. Maybe Derek would take some offense to that and come on here and maybe have some words with you.
No.
No?
What did I say?
I just said if you said something negative about him. Maybe he would come on here and say, hey, drop it.
No.
No?
Not at all. No.
Well, how's your day going?
Am I lost on something? What are you talking about?
Well, we were talking about Derek Hill and Dane Myers.
Oh, yeah.
We were having like an open conversation about who can separate from who.
Yeah.
And maybe if you said, I think Dane Myers is going to separate, Derek Hill was right in front of us because he was our next guest.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying if you maybe would have said something, good thing you didn't.
You're not saying I did.
I'm not saying you did at all. I'm saying that if you did, good thing you didn't.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I'm looking
like,
forward
what if
to...
you would have said, like, yeah, I just like Dane Myers, like Derek Hill stinks. I don't want to see him here.
No.
And he was right here.
Well, he was right here. I'm glad you had an opportunity to chat with him. Day is going well. You're getting very good viewership here, which is fabulous.
Yes, thank you, everyone that's joined on here on X and YouTube.
That's awesome.
We should have been doing this all off season long, but here we are. We're 2 weeks away from the spring training opener against St. Louis Cardinals. 47 days until opening day. Skeens versus Sandy, possibly. Not official yet. But, yeah, man, Marlins enter their 33rd season of existence. Let's start with this, Kyle. From just a 33,000 view center mountain, what's most fascinating about this team for you?
I think the youth. I really do think it's like guys that we were chatting about earlier separating themselves. Like, we were chatting about, does Dane Myers or Derek Hill take a hold of the everyday position? Like,
sure.
I think that's the stuff that's up for grabs. And what's amazing is there's so many young players with an awesome opportunity to become everyday big leaguers, which I think is really, really cool. So that to me is, I guess fascinating might be the right word, but generally speaking, on most teams, You might have like 2 or 3 guys that really looking to prove themselves. I think you could say that about a majority of this roster from a position player standpoint, that like they're really, really looking to prove themselves. So I think that's really intriguing, and I think the growth that you will see exponentially, like month over month, is going to be really cool as well.
Yeah, and I'm also curious to see who emerges as a leader from both the pitching side and the position fielder side as well.
Yeah.
I mean, with Jesus Luzardo obviously being gone, he was sort of that leader from a Latin and American standpoint. He's gone. Jake Berger, of course, as well. So who is going to step up into that role? Who can be potential candidates? Can it be an Xavier Edwards, who seemed like a different kind of dude when we got a chance to chat with him a couple of weeks ago? From just a vocal standpoint, he felt more comfortable. He felt like I belong here. And you know, he came up in 23, and of course, when you're young like that, you could have some insecurities. You don't want to speak your mind. You kind of want to lay low for the most part. He doesn't have to lay low anymore. He's a 300 hitter that's going to lead off for this team. Who's going to be that positional leader? Who's going to be that leader from an arms perspective? I think that's another curious storyline going into this year.
Yeah, and I don't think it's something that you force. I think it's probably cliche, you know, like I think that stuff naturally happens. I think so.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, like,
sure.
You know, some players are inherently more quiet than others, and others will become more vocal and become more boisterous. And I think that's the kind of stuff that naturally happens. I don't think it's Clayton McCullough calls a couple of guys into his office and kind of says, hey, we think you guys could be the leaders. Start doing that for us. I think that's something that will naturally and organically happen. I'll tell you the one guy I really think that could become that, and I really mean this, and maybe it's not this season, but in the years down the road, I think Connor Norby could be a guy that becomes really, really comfortable being a leader. You know, another guy, actually, it's very interesting that I really think highly of, and he joined you, is Derek Hill. Derek Hill last year, for a guy that never really got a real opportunity, he really, to me, was like I mean this, like a bit of a leader, not just with his play, but the way
he was just shot in the arm, for sure.
Yeah, the way he just carried himself and the way he just went about his business. It doesn't always have to be vocal. It's just the guys that are day in and day outers that show up to the field every day ready to work. So, and I think Clayton McCullough is going to have a bunch of those guys.
Well, Nick Fortes and Dax Fulton will join us in just a few minutes here, Kyle. You're peeling in a couple of minutes, which is fine, but
big announcement at loanDepot Park at 6:30.
Oh, okay. Can we do your big announcement really quickly? I know you hate talking about yourself, but again, congratulations.
Thank you.
How many times have you gotten that today? I know you're so uncomfortable with this, but congratulations again, and we're so excited for you, man.
I got a couple of them. I have, more than anything, truly enjoy just seeing all the people that I've seen for so many years. I think it's really cool. And the one thing that always gets me, now in like an emotional way, I just love to see the same day in and day outers, the fans that have been here for all of these years. And you see them, you know, I see Bruce and Sue Friedman. When I see them, it's like, oh my God, they've been season ticket holders since day one. And so many other fans, it's like, how was your off season? You know, it's like, oh, baseball is back, because I think the fans are truly an extension, obviously, of the team, and without them, they don't perform out there. So I love to see the fans. I love to see the people that have supported us on radio and, you know, on the Marlins in general for so long. So, yeah, I'm excited about it.
We're excited for you too. And I want to compliment your fashion is already improving. Where did you get do you want to name drop these pants? Did you get these pants from a really nice spot? These are already an upgrade than anything I've ever seen.
Yeah, I was at Bloomingdale's, which
buckets.
I had never been in there before.
Wow,
I don't know what it was,
Bloomingdale's.
But there he is, Ethan Ibe. What's
How
up,
about
brother? Yeah, I was at a Bloomingdale's, and these were purchased.
Wow, Bloomingdale's. I'm very.
I'll be honest with you, I still don't really to me, it was like Macy's. Is that a big deal?
No, I mean Bloomingdale's is a lot more upscale designer.
Oh.
You know, this one right here, Kith, right here. That's kind of. That's the sort of area.
That's not like your buddy's
into.
name?
No.
Oh.
No, it's a designer. So.
Oh. Where did you
full
get that?
sporting Kith, but they do sell it with.
Oh, they have like a store in Miami?
Bloomingdale's. Yeah, right in Wynwood. Yep. I actually went there to get this shirt for this event. So
and you'll only wear it once?
No.
Oh.
No, it's a really nice color, green, very Miami. I like.
See, I'm at a point in my life where you spend like $200 on a pair of pants. I only wear them once.
I know, and that's why it's going to be so
I just give them
difficult.
away.
The challenge for you
kidding.
now is you have to dress differently almost every single day, and that's something that you could buy one pair of jeans and you were wearing them for the rest of the year. Wrangler, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, that's wrong. No free ads, but Levi's. I go to the Levi's stores
okay.
Levi's store in San Francisco every time that we're there, and I blow it out, brother. I get in there. I get knee deep in those dungarees.
Very good. All right, we got like 2 minutes left. I did introduce Jack McMullen on here last segment. I think
did
it
he
was
call
just
in?
Congratulating. No, really missed opportunity there. Could have easily done that. But just you have any words just for
Still
Jack
time.
that's coming in here? And we're excited about the team. We're excited about the new analysts we have, but just specifically with Jack, replacing and trying to kind of pass the torch here and fast forward this energy which we had here the last 2 years.
I would say the one thing that I told him is that I don't want things to be the same. I think you guys do an amazing job. I think you're going to continue to do a great job. And I think it's important that you guys do things your way. I think that's what's most important. I hope you guys are in a good place. I think you are. And I'm just pumped to see what you guys make of it. And I think you guys should do things your way and have a ton of fun with it because people really support the radio. You've done a great job for 2 years growing all of this. Obviously, 2 years ago, this was a mom and pop organization, but here we are. So, broadcasting
Very good,
to
Kyle.
the masses. How many people are watching?
1,200.
Well,
how about that?
There you go. Something to strive for. A couple of months ago, it was, 12. So
this tease, and by the way, good luck. And again, I'm so happy for you.
You want me to go now?
No, you can say if you want. I had a killer tease, but for our people on StreamYard, you already know who our next guest is coming up.
Oh,
right? You know what I'm saying? We got the camera here.
I'm going to go out for the big announcement on the West Plaza.
You go.
I'm going to let you
Kyle.
and Nick take this thing away after you go to break.
Okay. Nick Fortes, he joins us next. News Radio 610 WIOD.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes,
and start saving with SingleCare. It's easy. Find your prescription on singlecare.com, show the coupon at the pharmacy, and start saving. SingleCare works at pharmacies nationwide and is completely free to use, whether you have insurance or not. So the next time you fill a prescription, check SingleCare to make sure you're getting the best price. Take control of your prescription costs. Go to singlecare.com or download the free app today.
Total Miami Marlins coverage is underway. Baseball is back. Steven Strom is live on News Radio 610 WIOD.
All right, we're moving and shaking here on FanFest 2025, presented by ADT, live from the Brew Hall. Steven Strom, last Hot Stove show, 2 weeks away from spring training. And I had this written down, Nick Fortes. Are we 47? We are 47 days away until opening day, but who's counting? Nick Fortes joins the program now. Nick, how's your day going, man? I know this is a fun day to meet all the fans and to be around your teammates. You're around Clayton McCullough. How's today been for you?
I always love interacting with the fans out here. It's a good time. And also meeting a lot of my new teammates as well. We got a lot of new faces in the clubhouse. So seeing all of them all together in one place for the first time, it's exciting. So it's been good to see everybody.
Fair to say you're a leader now at the age of 28.
Yes.
So the oldest player on this team is 30,
Yes.
Bender?
Yes. Yeah.
Is that something that, interests you? Or maybe you were probably already a leader in the catching position, but I guess you feel more incentive to take guys out on dinners or whatever it may be.
Yeah. I think it's an important aspect of having a healthy clubhouse is getting guys together and spending time outside of the field to kind of get to know each other a little bit better. It's important. And, I've been around guys in the past that have done that, and it's been really enjoyable for me. So I kind of want to continue that. And yeah, it's always good to get the guys together for a little bit.
Nick, let's talk about your off season. And, last year I thought you had an excellent, particularly second half. You 100 points better in the second half, 185 to 290. Let's do the second half. What do you think clicked for you specifically when you look back at 24?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a constant, battle, trying to find myself, trying to find an approach that works for me, a mindset, a cue, something that helps me take off. And I think I finally just found that rhythm with the constant, work with the hitting coaches and within myself. So more of just a confidence thing. I found my rhythm and a cue that worked for me. And I just rode with it the whole second half and stopped tinkering so much and just trusted it. And it worked out. So I'm excited to kind of bleed that into next year.
Absolutely. And, you had an off season. What was sort of the things that you tried to focus on defensively and offensively?
Yeah. Defensively, I wanted to get better at the receiving aspect of the game. That's a huge part of it.
And when you say you mean like stealing strikes and stuff like that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And, a way that me and Joe, our new catching coach, have been talking about doing that is doing a couple little tweaks with my setup to allow me to be a little more engaged and in the ground and stable. And just ready for every single pitch and not get caught back on my heels. So just being a little bit more engaged and allowing me to use my hands properly.
What is like, I guess, who steals the best strike? Like, who is the best steal striker or strike stealer, I guess, in this case?
Last year it was Patrick Bailey for the Giants. Yeah, he was the top of the leaderboard last year. And so, we've watched a lot of video and broken a lot of things down. And we've been working really, really hard to try to emulate some of his moves as best we can. And, we're both confident that I'm athletic enough to be able to do some of the things that the top guys can do. So just been working and trying to get better and tightening up all those little loose ends that needed to be gotten better.
Yeah, catching really is an art. And I think people just see the calling of the game, getting in front of a couple of balls and throwing guys out at second or third base. But how much do you enjoy, I guess, the nuances of it, just the game within the game, like you said, just like stealing strikes? I asked you, I think, yesterday where you put your right hand. I mean, are those things interesting to you?
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. I might be a little biased, but I think it's probably the toughest position on the baseball field. maybe behind pitcher. But yeah, there's so much that goes into it. There's 3 major aspects: there's throwing, blocking, receiving, and they're all so important. So yeah, I love the nuances. And then even the behind the scenes stuff that doesn't even have anything to do with on the field, the game planning and the relationships, communication with the pitchers and everybody on the team. There's a lot that goes into it, but I love it. It's a lot of fun for me, and you're never out of the play. You're in every single play. So that's an aspect that I like.
What fires you up about 2025?
I think we have a lot of young and talented and hungry players that, got their first like extended taste of the big leagues last year and had some success. So I know everyone's excited and everyone's really eager to get going. And like I said, we have a lot of really good athletes on this team too. So I see a lot of explosiveness. I see a lot of power. We've got tools all over the field.
Yep.
So I think you pair that with, like I said, the hunger and the willingness to get better every day. I think it should be fun.
Marlins catcher Nick Fortes is with us now on the final Hot Stove show. We are 2 weeks away from the first spring training game against the St. Louis Cardinals. 47 days until opening day. What is crazy about opening day when looking at the lineup from last year is you and Jesus Sanchez are the only 2 players from that opening day roster to the team. Like, what is your reaction to something like that? Is that just the business?
Yeah, it's just the business of it. It's just how the industry goes at times. But it's every year's a new year, and there's optimism everywhere you look. So, like I said, I'm excited. We've got a lot of talented players that weren't on the opening day roster last year, but I got to play with them quite a bit last year. So, still a lot of familiar faces for me and a lot of talent. So, yeah, I'm excited. I think it should be a good year.
All right, enough about the baseball. I'm not worried about you. I'm excited about you. What do you enjoy most, I guess, about days like today, just being able to interact with the fans that come out here and support this club?
Yeah, it's there's not many times that you get to be in this environment and be so close to the fans and interacting with them in that way. During the season, it's a lot of just like in passing autographs and stuff like that. But this is more like submersive, like in it. And so I enjoy that aspect of it, getting to talk to the people and getting to see the smiles and the laughs and just a little more in-depth interaction with the people.
How's the coffee business going? Where are we at with that? Are we done with that? You had like launched this coffee bean and what's going on with that?
It was definitely a teaser, and I'm glad to hear that it's sticking in everybody's minds. Everyone always Everyone always reminds me about it. So that's a good thing. So whenever I'm done playing baseball, hopefully one day everyone will still remember that, and they'll recognize when I do a hard launch of the business.
Sure. So let's get into coffee really quick. It's obviously big down here. What's your place of choice? And what is your coffee of choice?
Yeah, I love making coffee at home. I got a nice little setup, nice Breville machine. So I would say I'm pretty decent making my own cup of coffee, but I dabble with different beans, and I'm big into fresh, like small batch organic beans. Yeah, I dabble with a lot of different stuff. Yeah.
Sure. And are you like a Starbucks guy or a Dunkin' guy if you had to?
No, I used to be a Starbucks guy. Now I'm more into like the smaller coffee shops. So we've got a couple cool small coffee shops in Jupiter by where I live that I really enjoy. And then same thing here in Miami. I just I try to hit the local spots, rather than the big.
I agree.
Big names.
I totally agree. I think when you find those hole in the wall places, they're tremendous. You're off season. Give me the best or the. Did you go any vacation spots anywhere?
Yeah, we went. Me and my fiance went to California.
Congratulations, by the way. That was a hard launch too.
Hard launch. Yeah, we got engaged this past September, and so we took a trip out to California to look at wedding venues. And so we started in Los Angeles, toured a couple venues there, drove up to Santa Barbara, toured a couple places there, and then drove up to Carmel. Toured a couple places there, so we kind of hit the coast of California, which was really fun.
Any favorites?
And we ended up choosing a venue in Santa Barbara, so it's beautiful. And now we're in the planning process.
Big wedding, small wedding. What kind of wedding guy?
Gonna be relatively small, I would say. Probably like 50 people, maybe max.
Nice.
Yeah, relatively small.
We talked to Xavier Edwards, and he had just recently got engaged as well. And he told us a engagement story from hell.
Oh no!
On the beach, he lost the ring. He had to everyone was all in coordination, and he had a camera person here, and like one of the last seconds he had to turn around because he went for the ring and like realized that he dropped it.
No way.
You need.
I didn't know that.
You need to get
I need
on
to
him
ask him
about that. You need to.
The pictures look so great. You
Of
just
course.
assume that it went
Isn't
perfectly.
that just Instagram in reality, Nick?
Yeah.
Everyone looks happy and perfect.
Oh wow! I gotta ask him about that. Get the full story.
No one sees it. Can you imagine if they had some sort of videography of him running back?
That'd be great.
And then his fiance or to-be fiance's reaction.
I need to ask him about that. That sounds like something X would do too. That's hilarious.
What kind of guy is X? Real quick, we got a minute left. But what kind of guy is X?
He's a great dude. He's to himself until you kind of get in and get to know him. Then he's a really funny guy. He likes to go out and hang out with the guys. He's a grinder. He's just a great all around person, great all around baseball player. He's fun to be around.
Well, Nick, thank you so much for the time. It was great doing liners yesterday. You were tremendous. This is Fox. Tremendous.
Yeah, right.
Thank you for carving out time. So excited to see you up in Jupiter, and thank you again.
Yeah, I'm excited. Let's have a good year.
Absolutely. All right, Nick Fortes, everyone. Let's break. We'll have Dax Fulton on next. Marlins second-round pick back in 2020. Lot to get to right here on News Radio 610 WIOD.
From the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys Traffic Center. Call 1-800-74.
Visit izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Baseball is back. Live from the Brew Hall inside loanDepot Park. Marlins FanFest 2025. Marlins FanFest 2025.
All right, back here at Marlins FanFest, presented by ADT 2025, 2 weeks away from spring training. Steven Strom, great to have you aboard. Welcome, welcome. If you're joining us just now. Well, Dax Fulton joins the program now, Marlins second-round pick in 2020. And Dax, welcome, first of all. And I think it was awesome to chat with you because before this, I knew you were coming on the show today. So last week, I wanted to reach out to you and kind of just get your story because I haven't been able to cover you the last 2 years. But I guess for people that are just tuning in, we know you're a second-round high draft pick. We know you had the 2 Tommy Johns. Give us a little bit about your baseball journey as up to this point.
Yeah, it's been a long journey for sure. But the biggest thing for me has been learning how to overcome like the health issues, overcome things like that, learning about myself mentally and physically. That's probably been the biggest part of my just in my journey. But yeah, I was drafted in 2020, had a good first season, back from Tommy John. COVID was the year, so I didn't really pitch in 2020. Nobody did. 2021, I was in low A and high A. I performed pretty well. I was pretty happy with everything. 2022 was kind of where I feel like I had kind of like a breakthrough.
Sure.
I learned a lot about myself. Obviously, age helps with that as well. 2023, I felt like was going to be my year. I was very excited going into that year. Had a great off season.
Went to big league camp.
Yes, sir. That was my first big league camp. I was a young 21-year-old guy, and really I was just there to learn as much as I could from the older guys. And went in there. Didn't have a great spring training, but you learn the most when you fail.
Sure.
But anyway, started the season. I was focusing on a bunch of different things, but I ended up blowing out again. I had Tommy John surgery June 13th of 2023, which was very frustrating mentally. It didn't bother me physically because I've been through it before, so I knew what it was going to endeavor. But mentally, I felt like I was really, really close to the show.
Sure.
And I felt like I was kind of like right on the edge when it comes to that.
It's deflating.
Yeah. And so I had a lot of people to lean on my family, leaned on my fiance at the time, and all my close friends. They really helped me get through everything. But yeah, first 6 months of it sucked, to be honest. It's a lot of slow progress. You don't feel like you're making a whole lot of progress when it comes to like moving your arm, especially baseball related. I mean, we're meant to pitch the ball, that's our job is to pitch, and you don't pick up a baseball for me, it was probably 8 months post surgery. I didn't pick up a baseball. But yeah, once I got to start throwing a baseball, that's really when things became a lot easier. Got back down here in Florida, got to work last year, went through my full throwing progression, and went into the off season fully healthy, ready to go. And now we're right there.
Yep.
We're right back at it.
So you're in Oklahoma. I'm going completely out of order, but you're an Oklahoma kid, right? Is that correct?
Yep.
Jonah Bride. You and Jonah Bride know each other?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
How did, which I guess I'm assuming in Oklahoma, football is king?
Yeah, for sure.
And then maybe basketball? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, there's been a lot of very good talent come out of Oklahoma recently, especially with OU making it to the College World Series finals a couple years ago.
Okay.
A lot of my friends that I played baseball growing with were on that team, Cade Horton, for instance, he was one of my groomsmen in my wedding this year.
Wow.
Yeah, ended up getting drafted 7th by the Cubs last year or 2 years ago, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I think baseball in Oklahoma is very slept on. I mean, you hear about obviously OU football, but I feel like there's a lot of good baseball players that come out of Oklahoma.
How did you get into baseball?
Well, my parents both played basketball. My brother really liked it, to be honest. My brother liked it. He was good at it. And being a little brother, I wanted to be better than him, And so I always watched him. I watched how he was playing, and I watched all the things that he did. And I was like, I want to do that,
Sure.
And it really, I mean, I didn't love baseball, to be honest. I didn't love baseball until I started pitching. And that's why I feel like
control.
Yeah, I feel like I could control the game,
Yep.
When I'm pitching well, when I'm working quick, everybody around me is playing good, all the infielders, outfielders, they all enjoy someone that's getting ahead, working ahead. But yeah, I was probably like 9 or 10 years old when I really started to like it. And my dad came to me, I don't even know, probably 14 or 15 years old. And he was like, hey, like, do you like baseball? I was like, yeah. He's like, all right. He's like, well, I'm going to push you then. And because he was big into like not wanting to push us too hard, but he was going to push us if we wanted it to.
Sure.
And yeah, I mean, honestly, since 14, I've taken it as a job, even though it's a game. Like I've tried to take it as my number one job.
Sure. Well, he pushed you in the right direction, and here you are today.
Yeah. Helped that I had good genes too.
Holy buckets! You're 6'7", right? I mean, where do you get your genes from?
My mom and dad.
They're tall.
My dad's 6'6", and my mom's 6 foot. So
that'll do.
Yeah, you know, I mean, if I was under 6 foot tall, we would be questioning a lot of things.
Sure.
But my sister's 6 foot, and my brother's like 6'5". So like,
sure,
everybody in our family's tall. You know, we always tell people we're not one to sit behind in church, as I mentioned earlier.
That's a wonderful line.
Yeah.
Dax Fulton with us now, Marlins second round pick in 2020, 23-year-old southpaw. Super excited to see you in spring training, dude. What was one of the primary focuses for you, particularly this offseason?
Yeah, the biggest thing for me when I ended up getting hurt was to really dive into like my health, dive into learning the best way to take care of my body, not just like on the field, but more so like every day, day to day, getting my sleep, making sure my nutrition's good, making sure. I mean, there's so many things that come into it that a lot of people overlook, and for me, it was more of like a make or break thing. Like, all right, like you've taken everything on the field serious, right? Like you're really good when it comes to being on the field. How can you stay on the field as much as possible? Sure. And so like, I talked to tons of people, you know, I talked to many people about, all right, what do you do? What makes you successful? What makes you stay on the field as much as possible? And really it's just like been creating a good, just a good routine.
Like a regimen.
Yeah.
Is diet part of that?
Yeah. For sure. I'm trying to think, probably like in 2023, I was like 250, 255, something like that. I was heavier than I wanted to be honest. And this last year, with me not playing, you know, and me not having the stresses of playing, I dropped a bunch of weight. I put a lot of muscle on to where it allowed me to move my body better. And I'm excited to see how it looks and how I feel like when I get into games. But threw a live last week, and I mean, I couldn't feel better, man.
Oh,
I really
man.
did. I feel fantastic.
That's got to be the best feeling in the world, Dax.
Yeah.
What have the conversations been like? I guess not even with Clayton McCullough, but just with Peter Bendix, the entire organization, man. What's the plan for you, and just how excited they are for you? What was that girl? What was that laugh? What was that smirk you just gave me?
Because I feel like I'm really a wild card. You know, I genuinely do not know. We've had a bunch of position changes, of course. I just got added to the 40-man back in November. And so for me, my plan is really unknown. It doesn't matter what my plan is for me. I just want to go out there and pitch. I want to be healthy. And I want to give my team, whether that be AA, AAA, the big leagues, whatever that is, I want to be able to go out there and get my team wins. I hope it's the big leagues at some point this year, but that'll be their decision to make, of course.
I have not seen you pitch a ton, man. Give me your arsenal and just your mentality as a guy on the mound.
I'm definitely like you're not going to see me like showboat a whole lot on the mound. I'm very quiet when it comes to that thing, but I'm very aggressive. Like I feel like I'm like the quiet, aggressive person. Like I work very fast.
Silent assassin.
Yeah, I work very fast. I love striking guys out. That's my thing. That's my dope, is what people say. Like that's what I like to do. Sometimes it gets me in trouble, to be honest, but I love striking guys out. Fastball, four seam, got a little bit of cut to it. Changeup, curveball. It's more of a slider, really, but it's like a sweeper, I guess you could say. It's like a slurve. And then we've really been kind of working on a little sinker right now.
Last one for you, Dax, and I really do appreciate you stopping by. It's been an awesome conversation. I'm just interested to know how imperative or what you took away from the 2022 season where you won the Southern League with the Blue Wahoos. I know it's AA, but it's still got to mean something to like win with that group and teach you something for the future.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think winning as a group doesn't matter what league you're in, right? High school, college, pro, it doesn't matter. I think it all comes down to team chemistry.
Sure.
I think you'll see that in those clubhouses where they're winning, the chemistry is at an all-time high, and our chemistry there, to be honest, was great. I mean, all those guys that I played with, they all took me in because I got in there. I got to Pensacola pretty late in the season. I believe I got called up like at the end of July that year. So I really only played with them a couple months.
Sure.
But they took me in, you know. They were great. I played with some of them in high A, and it was great. You know, it was fantastic. I was glad we were able to make the little run we did. And you look back at it, and you look at a lot of the guys. Some of them are with us, some of them aren't with us, but they're all still great friends of mine.
Yep. Dax, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thanks for having me
on.
on.
Awesome connecting with you last week, but to get you on here and share your story with everyone, we're excited for you. We hope you stay healthy. And, dude, I'll see you up in spring training in a week and a half, man. This thing is here. It's 2 weeks away.
All righty. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you very much, Dax. All right, Dax Fulton, everyone, 2020 Marlins second-round draft pick. He will be with the big league team to start spring training. Excited for him. More on the way on News Radio 610 WIOD.
Time to shape up. It's the Daily Workout.
French left-wing protesters, they're in better shape somehow over there than they are here.
Clay Travis. Fox Sexton. News Radio 610 WIOD.
Diabetes, high blood pressure.
At the top and bottom of the hour.
Be in the know and to learn something.
News Radio 610 WIOD. Total Miami Marlins coverage is underway. Baseball is back. Steven Strom is live on News Radio 610 WIOD.
About 11 minutes left here of the program. Marlins Hot Stove Show live from the Brew Hall. Marlins FanFest 2025 presented by ADT. Steven Strom, big thanks to everyone that has joined the show. Derek Hill, Nick Fortes, Dax Fulton, who just joined us, and Clayton McCullough, who kicked off the show as well. Jeff back in the studio. Will, who's helped out tirelessly with setting up the StreamYard. I know we're on WIOD, but the StreamYard onto YouTube and X, it's been phenomenal having everyone a part of it. Kyle Sielaff is back with us. I know, man. I know. Look at you. You're running around. You did the panel. You did everything.
Just had an amazing announcement on the West Plaza.
What was the announcement?
The Miami Marlins Legends Hall of Fame. Very, very cool. 4 inaugural members. Former Marlins managers Jim Leland and Jack McKeon, and another 2 members of the class, Jeff Conine,
amazing,
Luis Castillo, all out on the stage. And then as a little bit of a surprise, after they unveiled the logo, Antonio Alfonseca, Juan Pierre, Gabby Sanchez, and I just blanked, Levon Hernandez, and Charles Johnson. First ever draft pick.
That's amazing, man.
Great group photo. It's been a great day.
So they're all part of the Marlins Hall of Fame? Is that what it is?
No, just 4 inaugural members, but some of their old teammates came back to support them.
So who are the 4? I'm sorry, say it again.
Jim Leland, Jack McKeon, Jeff Conine, and Luis Castillo.
Fabulous. Amazing. That is so nice.
How's everything going here? You getting by?
Everything's good,
a lot of people
man.
watching.
Everything's good.
After the first 8 minutes, you've been rocking and rolling.
Yeah, let me turn this camera this way. We got, 8 minutes left? Yeah, man, we're moving and shaking. I mean, Clayton was awesome. It's flown by because it feels like I've had a guest each segment, whether it was you here, I had to go solo for 2 segments. I think that's why everyone is cleared out of here. But now you're back. We're going to wrap things up. I feel repetitive, but 2 weeks away, man. We're right here. It's been so much fun this offseason. Obviously, doing the podcast and connecting with all these coaches, with you and I, just getting to know them on a deeper level than just baseball. But now we're here.
Mm-hmm.
There's no more time to hide, and we're off to Jupiter in about a week and a half. My stay starts February 21st, obviously right before the first game against St. Louis.
Take a nice
giving away
vacation with your
where I'm
Marriott
staying.
points.
All right. Fair enough.
Yes, you know what? It is a very exciting time of the year, and it is repetitive, and I know you and I have discussed it before Thanksgiving or whenever the heck we started the Hot Stove show this off-season, man. But I'm really excited about the future, and I don't say that lightly because I know fans have heard that before, but I truly believe that all of the right people are in place, and everything you need for the recipe is here to put a good cake together, man. I really believe that. I am so excited about this season. I don't know what the win-loss record will be like, but I do know that this team is going to be really fun to watch. There's a lot of real hungry guys that feel like they have a lot to prove, and, it's when you feel like you come to the ballpark every day needing to prove something, man, it usually brings out the best in guys. So that's what excites me. I am just a baseball fan at heart, so I'm excited to watch baseball regardless, and here's to a great 2025.
Let's end this program on this, Kyle. We got
I have
a couple
question.
of minutes. Go ahead.
When is Jack first going to join you? When is Jack coming into the fold?
The first
here?
connection? We have a Zoom meeting on Monday, which you're actually going to attend, and we are trying to iron out a content schedule, possibly maybe a hard launch on a podcast. We don't know if we want to do it, though, via Zoom or in person when we first rejoice for the first time in Jupiter, when we give that handshake into a hug.
Maybe a special one. We have been teasing special editions of the Marlins Hot Stove show. You could roll back around and do one more very, very, very special edition.
Yeah, I could do that.
Jack's going to be great. You guys are going to work great together. You got a lot of great partners this year. I see AJ Ramos is joining the mix.
Man. When we had him on, I was like, where is he? And he had never done analyst work. So he's going to really break it in with the Miami Marlins, get that first pair of shoes on with the fish.
Craig Minervini,
he's always great.
The old horse, the old stallion, going to help you guys a little bit.
We have a deep lineup. We have a versatile lineup that brings a little bit of everything that we need to a broadcast.
You got some slug. You got some guys with speed. You got everything you need. I'm sure you like that
analogy. What do you think I bat in this lineup?
Well,
Table
you know
center?
what? No,
because I'm a pregame host.
No, well, I understand what you're saying. You know what? You remind me a lot of a John Birdie. You could either hit leadoff or hit number 9. You're the second leadoff guy. You could either lead off.
Defense.
But very versatile. Very versatile. You're setting up
steal
equipment,
bases.
Putting out fires after 8 minutes and people couldn't hear you. You fix the whole thing, and you're a do-it-all guy.
I like that comp.
You got to be a do-it-all guy. Maybe I could give you a little Luis Castillo comp.
Yes. I do want to take a moment here to just thank everyone real quick that came out to FanFest, because this has been so awesome, to people coming up to you and I and just saying like, oh, like we really enjoyed listening to you. That means the world.
Mm-hmm.
We're about to embark on an 8-month crazy roller coaster, social life gone, and blinders and work, which is the best luxury. I mean, this is a dream for you and I both, so it's hard to call it work. But I did want to take just a moment to thank the listeners on WIOD and what's going to be Fox Sports 940, all of our affiliates on X here, on YouTube. StreamYard. I just cannot understate it.
How much time you got?
I got 4 minutes.
You got some time.
But
here.
I just want to thank
No,
them.
but what I was going to say.
It's important, Kyle. It's really
you're right.
important.
What I was going to say was, what's really awesome is people are going to see you every night.
Yes.
You guys are going to continue to use this.
I might need to hire a makeup guy, but that's okay. Because it might be San Francisco, 10 o'clock, and I'm.
Yeah, but it's going to be awesome. Like just to kick off Marlins baseball every single night, whether you're watching or listening, they're going to be able to watch you.
Yep.
Watch you from wherever you are. Talk people through Marlins on deck. Like that's going to be super cool. People are going to engage with you on Twitter and YouTube. So it's kind of a new journey for Marlins radio. But to see you guys in the booth, and who knows what, somebody comes waving in the background that's just really cool. So I'm pumped for you guys, and you guys are going to be great this year.
Thank you, Kyle. You're going to do great this year. Enough
We'll
of the
see.
Slop Fest.
Every time somebody today has said you guys are amazing, I say your check's in the mail.
I know. I took that from you. I say that to people now. Not even outside of work, too. But, again, just want to thank the listeners. We're so appreciative of all of you guys and everyone that came out to FanFest. This is such a cool event, such an important event. And Nick Fortes had kind of said it to me on the show. This is the only time where, fans can literally just come up to you and be like, hey, like, how are you? Like, I love you. And you're my favorite player. And you don't get that anywhere else. Once this is over, you are in that clubhouse, you're on the diamond, you're on the bus, you're on the plane, you're back home. The sort of access that you get here at FanFest is super unique. And I know every, team does it, but I just love the way that the Marlins have set this thing up organizationally. You're doing the panel. We're doing unveilings. We're doing this. We're doing that. It's just super cool to see all these fans. And there's been an awesome turnout here today.
Yeah, and you know what? There's not as much access, but make sure you come out to spring training too, because there's certain places you can go on the backfields and literally put your fingers in the cage and watch these guys hit. And these big leaguers, man, and they make it look and sound a whole lot different than playing high school or college or little league. It's amazing to watch these guys in action. So make sure you come up to Jupiter. Make sure you support Marlins Radio all season long. It's gonna be a blast. It's gonna be great.
Hot take. Last hot take before this thing ends. Before the last Kyle Sielaff and Steven Strom encounter on the radio. Got to give me a hot take for the season. I can start for you if you'd like. Marlins send 3 All-Stars. Xavier Edwards, Connor Norby, and Sandy Alcantara.
So my hot take is if he pitches a full season, Sandy Alcantara, 1 year removed from Tommy John surgery, will win his 2nd National League Cy Young Award.
Okay. I like that one. That's a good one. I like that one.
And the one thing I'm looking forward to, I cannot wait till after the All-Star break or whenever it is, him and Yuri Perez pitching in the same rotation together. I mean, just electrifying. So got to be awesome.
You got to feel when those two are back, 1-2, you go into a series and those two are pitching.
Oh, there's no doubt. Regardless of whether the Marlins are in it or out of it come September, if they're in it, boy, oh boy, oh boy, and you've got those two going in the series, amazing. If they're out of it, you're going to ruin a lot of people's seasons down the stretch with those two pitching.
All right, Kyle, big thanks to you, man. Again, good luck with TV.
Good luck this
big
year.
Thanks
to
Nick Fortes, Clayton McCullough, Derek Hill.
All right, everybody get out of the Brew Hall now. This place is packed. Get out of here.
Jeff back in the studio. Will, all you guys, thank you very much. 2 weeks away, spring training. Make sure to catch it, Fox Sports 940. But for Kyle Sielaff and everyone else that have joined the program, I'm Steven Strom. We will talk to you very, very shortly. News Radio 610 WIOD.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture.